Hey everyone, it's Kenji here with Ecotone Explorer. We're here at the Laguna Seca Raceway and attending the Sea Otter Classic, which is here in Monterey, California. It's the biggest gathering of the bike scene out west. Might be the biggest in the country. And this event's been going on for 29 years. And we're here with Lance Camisasca. Lance is the former show director of Interbike. He is a longtime leader in the industry, has worked for brands, and runs his own business as a consultant in the industry now. And so Lance and I have worked together on other events like PressCamp, Bike PressCamp, Outdoor PressCamp. And so I'm really excited to be here talking with you today. So thanks for making some time.
My pleasure.
All right. So let's start off with your background in the bike industry. It goes deep and long. So tell us a little bit in like a minute of kind of your trajectory as an advocate in bike.
Sure. Well, I spent the first part of my career working in cycling within the retail environment. Went through a number of different stores across the country at management levels. Fantastic experience, learned a ton, but I felt at some point at the end I just needed to go a little further. So I got into the wholesale manufacturing side of the business, worked for a number of key manufacturers in the cycling industry, until one day I stumbled upon an opening that Interbike was looking for a show director. Always admired the show, enjoyed being a buyer at the show when I was in retail, and enjoyed being an exhibiting brand when I worked for the different manufacturers. So I applied for the job, and by some reason I got it. And so I was show director for Interbike during its peak. I was very fortunate. It was the largest trade show in the world for cycling when I walked in the door. And my task was to maintain that and grow it and make it even better. So for 10 years, those were my marching orders, and I hopefully did that, and decided at the end I wanted to experiment and do some more intimate events that would actually touch on a bigger experiential factor, and had a concept for a media event called PressCamp, which you joined me on towards the end of my time there. Did the press camps for about 8 years, ended up selling the brand, and now I'm actually doing event consultation.
Oh, great. Nice synopsis. And there's a lot of parallels in our experience, you know. Although I had to work my way up to show director. I didn't just like drop in at show director.
I got lucky. I remember walking down the hall with you.
Yeah, it's been a great time together. So I'm appreciative of our friendship and our multiple fronts work together, which includes making music together and riding bikes and having fun in the events world. Sure. So Sea Otter has been an event. You told me you've been here how many times?
21 in a row.
21 in a row. Yeah. So you are quite a veteran of this event, which is not a trade show per se.
Right.
But it's, well, tell me about how you've seen this event change over the years and kind of where you think it's going.
Absolutely. So Sea Otter, I mean, historically was a bike race, first and foremost. And of course, when bike races take place, brands come to support their teams and support their riders. And when brands show up, they figure, hey, I might as well open the back door of my trailer and show product. That's really kind of the origin of Sea Otter, was brand support of the race that turned into an expo. And over the years, the expo has gotten larger and larger and larger. Principally, it's still it's a B2C event. It's a business-to-consumer event. But anytime you see a gathering of this capacity, this size, 70,000 people, unquestionably there's going to be media launches and there's going to be other business done on a B2B front. So we are seeing quite a bit of business taking place, usually in the mornings before the place heats up and it gets a bigger flow of consumers coming in. Mm-hmm. So it's really turned into be a festival that addresses a number of fronts in the cycling industry. It is the largest festival of cycling in the world at this point. And the number of pre-registered racers, I think this year was 35,000. So it gives you a kind of an idea of how large the event is in terms of its importance for the race scene, and then all the like I said before, all the brand support. And then the media has come out because it is April. It's a great time for media to see new products. So there's an awful lot of new products being launched as well.
Yeah, I had heard that this event is 30% up. So from last year, and this is a 29-year-old event. Right. So in a market that's not exactly exploding.
Correct.
I mean, cycling is pretty
relatively
steady,
flat, right? Just came from the Business Leadership Conference, and that was called out many times that we're still in a flat growth phase. But yeah, I mean, it is remarkable that it grew by 30%. Of course, the demise of Interbike and the big trade show going away freed up a lot of dollars and freed up some resources for these brands, and they're all in this time for this event.
So let's get to the business here, because this is a little bit insider trading, but that the Interbike show, the big trade show for the industry, has been canceled for 2019. That does free up budgets for doing other events like Sea Otter, so that could certainly explain some of that 30% increase.
I think so.
But there's, of course, a lot of B2B business that has to be done as well, meaning business to business, for those of you not in the business, selling to retailers, direct to consumer, some of the marketing initiatives that combine retail and brand initiatives. All those things have to happen somewhere. So there's a push for the bike industry to join the outdoor industry at the November Outdoor Retailers Show in Denver this year. And there's people certainly talking about that. Also here at this event, we've seen some more outdoor relevant stories being told, and from brands. So what's your take on kind of that idea of November joining the outdoor group?
Sure. I think the jury's out on the November date, frankly. We've never had a trade event in all my years of doing work in the cycling industry in the late fall. On one hand, it is a good time because retailers are relatively freed up. They're not in the peak of their season addressing numerous amounts of cycling that are taking place, unless maybe you're in California or some other location where the weather permits. But I think the jury really is out on whether that show can grow, or that part of the show can grow legs for the outdoor retailer event. I'm optimistic, though, that there is some hunger for the event to be indoors in a more intimate setting where a proper business-to-business perspective can be. Because really now there's nothing. There are business agreements and things being done at this event and others where consumers are also mingled in, but I think there is a hunger for the industry to gather and be really doing high intensity B2B engagement. So I'm a little leery to say yet whether it's got my full endorsement, but I think it's got potential.
Oh, good to hear that. I think, thinking about my years with Outdoor Retailer and working the shows, it's surprising, and it's surprising to me how different it is to have a B2B conversation in the same setting or context of a B2C or a consumer event like this. And I remember bringing that idea up to many leaders in the outdoor industry, and they were challenged with that. Like, I can't change hats that fast. I can't change displays that fast. I can't switch my modus operandi from talking to a consumer about current products that are at market and then put my hat on and say, here's what's happening next year, but not have that conversation with
that's exactly right.
With the consumer. So
it's become very uncomfortable.
It's a difficult dance, right?
The teams are sometimes specialized in one area of the business and others. So it's a matter of trying to keep the teams intact that you need for a consumer event versus the teams you might bring to a B2B or a business event. So it gets complicated. And I think you're right. I think people really want to be in an arena where they know exactly what their mission statement is and work in that capacity. And that's where I think cycling is kind of longing to get back with another B2B business event.
Well, interesting. Well, good insights, Lance. Appreciate you sharing that with us. Let's get around to some of the bigger industry topics where it touches outdoor. I've seen some. I wasn't here last year, so 2 years ago, I don't remember seeing Winnebago or Van Do It or these kind of van life adventure conversions, rooftop tents. I saw some of that before, but it feels like that's a growing trend here. Are there other things that you feel like are trending in the bike industry that are relevant to outdoor?
I do. I think the tie to what you're seeing, when you see Winnebago and some of the outdoor industry companies that you're familiar with at an event like Sea Otter, it ties to the one segment in the cycling industry that's actually growing, which is called gravel. Gravel are, for the simple way of putting it, it's really a hybrid bike that falls somewhere between a full-blown road racing bike and a full-blown mountain bike. They're designed more towards the road style of riding in terms of the drop bars and the way you position yourself on the bike, but they have different frame geometry that makes them more comfortable. They have bigger wheels and tires so they can go over anything, and the gearing is lower so you can do a lot more climbing. Gravel bikes have become really the bike, if you're going to go out and buy one bike and your budget permits that one bike to hang on a hook in your garage, the gravel bike can meet so many different needs for that consumer. So think of it this way: if you're now engaged in gravel bike riding and you own one of these machines, you're going to be spending a lot more time in the great outdoors. You're not going to be riding on asphalt. Most likely, you're going to be on fire roads and trails. And I think we're seeing that the outdoor industry is responding to that, and they're attending events like like Sea Otter Classic to try to cross over and be a part of that consumer's next purchase.
Ah, very cool. I didn't. So thanks for that. Gravel was always a little mysterious to me. Like, is there a new trail? And you and I have attended some cyclocross races.
Correct. Yeah.
Are those done on gravel bikes?
Interesting comment, because the gravel bike really is a derivative of a cross bike. Cyclocross is a massive sport, a massive cycling discipline in Europe, where it was actually started because professional cyclists needed a winter activity to stay fit. So they designed these bikes to ride on dirt and gravel and snow and ice, and they would race in these elements, which was very, very fun to watch, because there's a lot of slipping and sliding and a lot of running with the bike and going on and off the bike quite a bit. The pros loved it because it kept them fit, and the end users, or I should say the public, loved to watch it. It was really fun. So cyclocross is a very old discipline of Europe. I bring it up because a gravel bike shares so many of the same types of design features, particularly the geometry being more relaxed and these bigger wheels and tires and the lower gearing. So really, you could almost call European cyclocross bikes gravel bikes, and vice versa.
Oh, very cool. More insight. Lance obviously is a great leader and very insightful in the bike industry. If people wanted to reach out to you, they wanted to gain more of your expertise or put you in play with their business, I mean, how can they reach you?
Well, I can give you my email. My work email address is my last name, Camisasca 5150, because I'm a little nutty, at gmail.com.
Well, we'll share that in the show notes, so you'll be able to find it and find Lance if you have further questions. Let's see. Well, as a wrap up, are you racing at all?
I'm not racing this time. No.
Not this time?
Taking the weekend off. Yes.
Yeah, I've ridden with Lance before. It's no fun to try to keep up with him. So, well, thanks for making so much time for us and sharing your insights, and we'll put your contact info in the notes. And all right, this is Kenji again with Ecotone Explorer here at the Laguna Seca Raceway. We're in Monterey, California, attending the Sea Otter Classic. If you're interested in more of Ecotone Explorer, give us a subscribe or leave a note underneath, and appreciate you following along. We'll see you around the bend.